computer's lagging. It lags all the time. Why am I so busy getting
Someone having some lag issues.
Hello, everyone. Throw some hearts up if you can hear me.
Huh?
Yes. Oh, I love it.
I mean, yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Not you.
All right.
Magda had no mourners, no funerals sign, so I just gotta shout them out.
You saw that, right? There we go, Magda.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to our show. Thank you so much for being here. I would love to introduce our lovely team that are here. We have Leigh Bardugo. We have Eric Heiserer. We have Jessie May Lee. We have Archie Renault. And we have Sir Ben Barnes. Thank you all for joining us. We are going to keep you on mute because it can get a little loud. We will take you off right before we end just to say your goodbyes. If you have any swag, please show us. If you got any love, please show us. We've also, I've got some questions in here that I'd love to start asking y'all. I'm pulling from what I see. Okay, my first question here for all of y'all is from Olivia, and it is, what character would you want to be your best friend and why?
For me, Jenya, because I love Jenya. And I love Daisy, and she's just wonderful. So yeah, Jenya.
Do you know what? I've got to go Alina. Alina and Mal's relationship, that friendship that they've had is just the purest thing, and that's a good thing to have in life. So that's what I'd go for.
The Darkling doesn't have any friends.
He has
river.
All your friends are here, Ben.
I've got 801 friends here. So
All right. The next question is for Leigh and Eric. And okay, here we go. What was your first impression of the costumes and keftas? And this is from Allison.
So I got to meet Wendy fairly early, and she showed me this textile. She actually went and read all of the books, and she based the textile that all of the kefta are made from on this, from the language of thorns, the thornwood, that is such a big mythical part in the series. But the craziest thing was when I went to her costume workshop, like, I don't know what I was picturing, but it was so huge. I actually have a video, I will post it. It's just row after row after row of kefta, and there's winter kefta and summer kefta and dress kefta, and it was so incredible. And there were 30 costume makers working here overnight, and it was just incredibly magical to see them. I couldn't believe what they managed to achieve. It was so extraordinary.
The costume department was like my favorite place, and I could show up there at all hours and somebody was working on something. That's when I ran into Wendy, who was working on Kaz's gloves and doing some sort of pattern on the back of the fingers. And I asked her what she was up to, and she says, well, this is called crow feather.
Oh, yeah.
I was just instantly in love with her. And she's like, you want to come by this weekend? And I made the tragic error of coming by that weekend and spent 30 hours painting mud on uniforms. But,
you didn't.
But that's how it goes. I mean, we didn't have that much of a budget, but we had a lot of passion.
Oh, that's
that's the kind of boss we've got. That's the kind of boss we've got who paints mud on boots.
We owe you a thank you.
I muddied you up.
I love that. Okay, our next question is from Tahal. And the question is, when preparing for your role, how did you balance between what is already said about your character in the books to then the character from the actual show? Preparing for your role, the balance between basically the character in the book to the character in the show.
The interesting thing about my character is one of the only characters who doesn't sort of have a sort of first person narrative anywhere in the book. So you sort of just see what is said about him. So how he's making people feel, how people are reacting to him. And I think in the show, obviously, you want to get a little bit of what's going on inside his head as well. whilst maintaining the mystery. So lots of lovely opportunities to do that, especially when I'm doing the scenes with Archie and Jess. You know, with Jess particularly finding all the like warmth and that sort of tiny seed kernel of hope that's still alive in him. And kind of, you know, navigating with Archie as well. He doesn't really interact with as much in the books in the same way. So seeing their dynamic to me was a really interesting one. Really enjoyed all that.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Archie.
go on.
No, you go.
Oh, you go. Oh.
I'll go again.
Get rid of this. Yeah, I mean, again, similar to Ben, the sort of driving heart and stuff is there. It was just putting that emotion into it and putting that onto the screen. And you know, it is a little bit of a different character from the books, but still, but not too dissimilar, because he is still a young boy that is going through a hell of a lot, and that's going to take its toll. And any kind of emotions that he is feeling, I think, is kind of valid, or at least he's allowed a bit of that, because he's still learning about himself so much. He's still so young when he's thrown into this situation, which is quite ridiculous.
You do get beat up more than in the book.
Yeah.
I mean, you get beat up, stabbed, shot, you know, regularly punished more than you are in the books.
You also get to see what he's up to.
Yeah.
You know, in the books we didn't get to see what he's up to, so I guess you get to fill in the blank.
Yeah. And his friendships outside of Alina, we get to see, Mikhail and Dubrov and how much they mean to Mal, and that little friendship
I love
group.
Mikhail and Dubrov in the
Oh,
show. Like, if
so
you told me I was
good.
going to be a Mikhail and Dubrov stan, would not have
Yeah.
believed.
Shout out to Andy and Angus.
Yeah.
That'd be
Oh,
sweet.
All right. With all of that being said, fans, I want you to know that we do have a special video for you coming up, as well as maybe a few more surprise guests joining us. But we do have to say goodbye to this group of people. Before we do that, Farah, I see you sad there. Don't be sad. We've got some more surprises for you. I would love us to take a group photo, and I would honestly love Eric and Lee to lead this for us. You know, we've gone through others. It could be very simple. I want you to both do something very random right now, and we'll take that and we'll mash it into one and do a group photo.
oh wow, look at this cat.
Oh,
Oh
okay.
yes, let's
It's
throw
a
that up.
heart, and we're
What are we
looking.
doing?
That's my purple fault. I was like, let's look into the distance. I like this.
All right, we're going hearts, y'all. All right, I'm gonna count down to 3. Fans, remember to stay here after our talent leave. All right, hearts up. In 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We will take you off mute
Love
real
everyone.
quick, and it will go crazy in here for a second, and then talent, we'll see you later.
Oh, go!
Thank you.
so much.
Love you.
All right. We are going to throw up a very cool video for y'all in just 1 second.
Let's get this.
Wait! Exclaimed Mal. What happens if Agrisha?
What happens to us? The woman in red looked down at them. If by some small chance one of you is Grisha,
Then that lucky child will go to a special school where Grisha learn to use their talents. You will have the finest clothes.
finest food, whatever your heart desires.
Said the man in purple. Would you like that?
It is the greatest way that you may serve your kin, said Anarchy, still hovering by the door.
That is very true.
Said the woman in red, pleased and willing to make peace.
The boy and the girl glanced at each other and
Because the adults were not paying close attention.
They did not see the girl reach out and clasp the boy's hand or the look that passed between them.
The Duke would have recognized that look.
The Duke?
He had spent long years on the ravaged northern borders, where the villages were constantly under siege.
The peasants fought their battles with little aid from the king or anyone else.
He had seen a woman.
Barefoot and unflinching in her doorway.
Face down a row of bayonets.
He knew the look of a man defending his home with nothing but a rock in his hand.
Alrighty, I hope you all enjoyed that very exclusive sneak peek. Amira, I see you over there freaking out. Hey, I see you, and I see your bookshelf as well. Oh, hello, Freddie.
Hello.
How are you?
Guys. Doing well. I'm just checking out everyone. Someone's got an amazing. Magda has an amazing cape that she's made.
She has a cape, she has a sign. She's been our star.
Got it all.
Oh, unreal.
There's loads.
All right, we are going to unmute everybody. It's going to get a little loud for a second, and the rest of our town will roll in.
Hey. Hello, everyone.
We love you guys.
We love you.
Somebody has a bad echo there. We are just waiting on Mr. Callahan. All righty, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us. This group of fans is awesome. We said hello and asked a few questions to the other group. Fans, I would love you to throw some questions in there for us now. In the chat, if you can, would be great. Just keep them coming in. And, oh, I start to see them. Here they come. All right. Before we do that, I am going to quickly introduce our awesome cast here. We have Mr. Freddie Carter.
Hello.
We have Amita Suman. We have Kit Young.
Hey guys, how you doing?
We have Daniel Galligan.
Oh, what's the story?
And Mr. Callahan Skogman.
Yeah.
The story is Shadow and Bone. That is the only story. You know, and that's why we're all here today. We really, really appreciate everybody being with us. Talent, fans around the world, different time zones, 4 a.m., 2 a.m., 2 p.m. if you're in, in the Western Hemisphere. But yeah, there we go. I would love to start off by asking some questions here. The first one I have is from Brianna. And the question is, when preparing for your role, what's one thing that helped you nail the character's personality? And then she did a thank you with a smiley face.
Oh,
Thanks, Brianna.
thank you.
There's a question on the smiley face. For me personally, the books were really, really helpful. All the way through. If I was ever struggling with a scene or a moment, I would just go back and read the books because they're really good and they're very helpful because they've got these really richly drawn, detailed backstories.
Yeah, and what a wonderful opportunity to have something like that at your disposal.
Yeah.
I was the same way. I would revisit the chapters all the time to get that perspective of Matthias, and yeah, it was extremely helpful.
Yeah, I would say books for me. There's a particular moment that when I remember hearing, or I remember reading, when Nina's trying to heal an edge, and she just kind of really feels out for depth and feels like she's not up to the job, and kind of feels like that lost little girl whose training wasn't long enough and all of that. And that's like, I found that was, as an undercurrent for her, really interesting, considering how sassy and how confident and how obviously ruthless, she's a killer, she can be. And I found that was interesting. So like, no matter how at a depth we feel, like what we can actually achieve. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, like Jesper is kind of the greatest source of everything he experiences. He enjoys, and he has so much fun, and so that was very easy for me looking around and just having fun on set. But also the way that obviously the books, and that's probably true for all of us. But I think being treated like Jesper by Kaz and Inej standing in front of me made my job really easy. Because I was like, I just have to respond to these two criminals in front of me, and be their friends and be their be their companion. And so yeah, that made it all very, very easy.
Very cool. All right, our next question is from Emily, and it is, if you had to pick a song to be the theme of your character, which would you pick?
Oh,
Just one.
Just one song.
If it was
One
just
song.
one, I'd go for Sinister Kid by the Black Keys.
Great choice. Great choice. All of you should listen to that now.
One
Um,
is difficult. I listen to there's a really cool playlist on Spotify that has like all the seasons from Vikings, the music from that show. And I would just play that for hours and hours and hours. And I think that was really captured the idea of Matthias and where he's from for me.
I have loads on Nina's playlist, but the one that is in my mind now is Sheila Nagig by PJ Harvey. And Sheila Nagig is like an old Irish fertility kind of goddess. And there's basically she's depicted, this is terrible now I'm going to say this, but she has her legs spread and she's like this, like exposing herself. And there's something about that kind of unapologetic nature of like Nina just exposing herself that in that song I found really helpful.
For me, it was Unchained by it's James Brown and Tupac. So those of you making fan edits, do it to that track because it's got the most badass riff. But now, like moving forward, we didn't have the soundtrack when we were making it, but like if we get to do some more, fingers crossed, then like it will just be the Crows theme. It just does everything you need it to.
Oh, yeah.
It's just there. It's in my head now.
Yeah. Sometimes I listen to it on the tube. It's pathetic. I love it.
It's so good.
It's so good.
Yeah. Crime.
Should we bring out the instruments again?
Yeah, we should.
Oh, all right. I got another question from Carolee, and the question is, which Grishaverse character would you entrust Emilian Kruger with?
Which Grishaverse character?
Yes. Would you entrust Emilian Kruger with?
How's Beckett? Would you get, because he's a businessman, he's going to turn it into 5 million Kruger.
Business.
For himself.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize you had to give it back. That wasn't ever
Businessmen in the same way that
Exactly.
waste management.
I'm not giving you anything.
Jasper would gamble it away.
Wow.
Nina would probably spend it on waffles. So I think it'd be me.
I think Mal.
No, then you're just going to go buy your own freedom and disappear.
You're going to buy a ship.
Isn't no one trust
Maybe
Matthias?
I do.
No, not Matthias.
No, sorry.
Yeah.
You won't have a bank account. It'll just be like
Yeah. It's got to be Wyland. He's the one that's going to invest it, make property, give us a place to live. It's got to be.
No, Mal. I think Mal's a great choice. No.
Mal's a very good choice.
Trustworthy.
Mal's a very good choice.
And he'd make an orphanage out of it.
Aww.
Anyway,
you don't look happy because the answer isn't you.
My answer remains the same.
Ugh.
Okay, business like Tony Soprano's in waste management. Yeah, Kaz Brecker's a businessman.
All right, we're going to do one more question. And that question is, what is your favorite line of dialogue spoken by your character?
So many.
Ooh.
There's loads.
I think the one that pops to my head right now is in that case I'll take my knife back, because all of my other really super mega favorite quotes, we haven't come to that as of yet. They're in Six of Crows, but in the series it's that one.
That's a very good one. Mine's got to be Just Ask, the end of episode 5. Also, just because it's a name of one of the soundtrack clips as well now. So that one holds a special place in my heart. Just Ask.
I think I would actually choose maybe Not in This Lifetime.
That's a good
one.
Ooh, shove.
Go on, Danny.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I mean, my personally, Danny's favorite one to say is "Were you born a prick?" or was that a choice? But I think it's like a nice line of dialogue of Nina's. can't really remember. I just remember a moment when we were on the raft and he's like, "Why are you helping me?" And she's like, "Because you're human." And I always really enjoyed that line because I think it's like Nina in terms of like the number one for her is human connection, and she can't help but see the human in everyone. And I thought that was a nice line. But always prick, always prick.
Very sweet. All right. With that being said, this will be it for us here, guys. Talent, thank